Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the chapter 8 Controlling. All organizations face the necessity of control like other managerial functions. The need for control arises to maximum the use of scarce resources and to achieve the goals of a management. It enables to know whether resources are utilized in the same manner as planned. Controlling completes the whole sequence of managerial process. After the plans are put to operations through directing, it is necessary to check regularly whether the actual results are consistent with the planned results. Controlling is an important function of management. It is an essential feature of scientific management. It is the last but not the least function of management. It ensures the proper and timely accomplishment of goals and objectives. Planning is the basis, action is the essence, delegation is the key, and information is a guide for control. Management function starts with planning and ends with controlling. Therefore, planning acts as a basis of controlling. Both these functions are interrelated and interdependent. Controlling is not possible in the absence of planning. It is a mechanism through which operating results are compared with the plans and taking corrective actions when results deviate from the plans. So let us see the chapter Controlling now. Controlling, the process through which management ensures that the actual performance conforms to the planned performance. Controlling is a continuous process of evaluating actual performance with standard performance of an individual, group, or department, and if necessary, taking corrective action so that the actual performance is in accordance with standard performance. It involves analyzing whether actions are being taken as planned and taking corrective actions to make these to conform as planned. Control and controlling are not synonymous. Control means the power or authority to direct, order, or restrain. Controlling means measuring the actual performance, comparing it with the standards set by plans, and correcting deviations to ensure achievements of objectives according to plans. Controlling is a dynamic process and action oriented. Prompt flow of information on the performance at the bottom level on regular basis is essential for effective control through graphs, data charts, etc. Controlling as the actual performance conforms to the planned performance. It discovers deviations from the results expected. It identifies the reasons for such deviations, taking corrective actions. Controlling is one of the important functions of a manager. In order to seek planned results from the subordinates, a manager needs to exercise effective control over the activities of the subordinates. Controlling means ensuring that the activities in an organization are performed as per the plans. Controlling also ensures that an organization's resources are being used effectively and efficiently for the achievement of predetermined goals. So, controlling is a goal oriented function. Features of controlling. Here we can see that controlling is a goal oriented process. The controlling function measures progress towards organizational goals and brings to light the deviations. It is pervasive, it is universal, and it is applied every way, forward as well as backward looking, and for a continuous process. We can say that controlling is always a continuous process. Controlling should not be misunderstood as the last function of management. It is a function that brings back the management cycle back to the planning function. The controlling function finds out how far actual performance deviates from standards, analyzes the cause of such deviations, and attempts to take correct actions based on the same. The process helps in formulation of future plans in the light of the problems that were identified. It helps in better planning in the future periods. So, controlling only completes one cycle of management process and improves planning in the next cycle. Importance of controlling. Control is an indispensable function of management. Without control, the best of plans can go away. A good control system helps an organization in accomplishing the organizational goals. It is one of the important of controlling. The controlling function measures progress towards the organizational goals and brings to light the deviations, if any, and indicates corrective action. So it guides the organization and keeps it on the right track so that organizational goals might be achieved. Second importance of controlling is judging accuracy of standards. A good control system enables management to verify whether the standards set are accurate and objective. An efficient control system keeps a careful check on the changes taking place in the organization and in the environment and helps to review and revise the standards in light of such changes. The third importance of controlling is making efficient use of resources. By exercising control, your manager seeks to reduce wastage and spoilage of resources. Each activity is performed in accordance with predetermined standards and norms. This ensures that resources are used in the most effective and efficient manner. The next importance of controlling is improving employee motivation. A good control system ensures that employees know well in advance what they are expected to do and what are the standards of performance on the basis of which they will be appraised. So it motivates them and helps them to give better performance. The next importance of controlling is ensuring order and discipline. Controlling creates an atmosphere of order and discipline in the organization. It helps to minimize dishonest behavior on the part of the employees by keeping a close check in their activities. The box explains how an import and export company was able to track dishonest employees by using computer monitoring as a part of their control system. That is, a manager at a New York City import export company suspected that two employees were robbing it. Corporate Defense Strategies, that is CDS of Maywood, New Jersey, advised the firm to install a software program that could secretly log every single stroke of the suspect's computer keys and send an encrypted email reports on CDS. Investigators revealed that the two employees were deleting orders from the corporate books after processing them, pocketing and revenues, and building their own company from within. The program picked up on their plan to return to the office late one night to steal large shipment of electronics. Police hid in the rafters of the firm warehouse, and when the suspects entered, they were arrested. The pair was charged while embezzling $3 million over 2.5 years, a sizable amount of revenue for $25 million a year firm. This is only an example for controlling through computer monitoring. So ensuring order and discipline is a very important of controlling. So close watch on the performance of employees makes the order and discipline. The next importance of controlling is facilitating coordination in action. Controlling provides direction in all activities and efforts for achieving organizational goals. Each department and employee is governed by predetermined standards which are well coordinated with one another. This ensures that overall organizational objectives are accomplished. The next one is decision making. Decision making is very important under controlling. Controlling leads to corrective actions which lead to take better decisions in future. We have seen the importance of controlling, that is, accomplishing organizational goals, judging accuracy of standards, making efficient use of resources, improving employee motivation, ensuring order and discipline, facilitating coordination in action. Now, let us see the limitations of controlling. Although controlling is an important function of management, it suffers from following limitations, that is, difficulty in setting standards. Control system loses some of its effectiveness when standard cannot be defined in quantitative terms. This makes measurement of performance and their comparison with standards a difficult task. Employee moral, job satisfaction, and human behavior are such areas where this problem might arise. The next limitation of controlling is little control and external factors. Generally, an enterprise cannot control external factors such as government policies, technological changes, competition, etc. The next limitation of controlling is resistance from employees. Control is often resisted by employees. They say it as a restriction on their freedom. For instance, employee might object when they are kept under a strict watch with the help of closed circuit television, that is CCTVs. The next limitation of controlling is costly affair. Control is a costly affair as it involves a lot of expenditure, time, and effort. A small enterprise cannot afford to install an expensive control system. It cannot justify the expenses involved. Managers must ensure that the cost of installing and operating a control system should not exceed the benefits derived from it. So, we have seen the limitations of controlling. Now, let us see the relationship between planning and controlling. Planning and controlling are inseparable twins of management. A system of control presupposes the existence of certain standards. These standards of performance, which serve as the basis of controlling, are provided by planning. Once a plan becomes operational, controlling is necessary to monitor the progress, measure it, discover the deviations, and initiate corrective measures to ensure that events conform the plans. Planning without controlling is meaningless. Similarly, controlling is blind without planning. If the standards are not set in advance, managers have nothing to control. Where there is no plan, there is no basis of controlling. So, here, planning is clearly a precondition for controlling. It is to think that controlling could be accomplished without planning. Without planning, there is no predetermined understanding of the desired performance. Planning seeks consistent, integrated, and articulated programs while controlling seeks to compel events to conform to plans. Now, here, the planning is interdependent and inseparable functions of management. Without a plan, there is nothing to control. Planning is basically an intellectual process involving thinking, articulation, and analysis to discover and prescribe an appropriate course of action for achieving objectives. Controlling, on the other hand, checks whether decisions have been translated into desired actions. Planning is thus prescriptive, whereas controlling is evaluative. The next one is it is interrelated and reinforce each other. It is often said that planning is looking ahead and also it is interrelated and reinforce each other. Planning makes controlling easier and also it is very effective. Controlling reveals the shortcomings. Planning seeks the consistent, integrated, and articulated programs, while controlling seeks to compel events and conform the plans. Planning based on facts makes controlling easier and effective. Controlling improves future planning by providing information and derived from past experience. The next relationship is planning is looking ahead and controlling looking back. It is often said that planning is looking ahead while controlling is looking back. The statement is only partially correct. Plans are prepared for future and are based on forecasts about future conditions. Planning involves looking ahead and is called a forward looking function. Controlling is like a postmortem of past activities to find out deviations from the standards. In that sense, controlling is a backward looking function. It should be understood that planning is guided by past experiences and the corrective action initiated by control function aims to improve future performance. So planning and controlling are both backward looking as well as forward looking function. Planning and controlling are interrelated and reinforce each other in that sense. So here we can say that planning is looking ahead and controlling looking back. The next one is controlling process. Controlling is a systematic process involving the following steps: setting performance standards, measurement of actual performance, comparing of actual performance with standards, and analyzing the deviations and corrective actions. Now we are going to see the first process Under that, setting performance standards. Standards may be quantitative standards or qualitative standards. First of all, you should know what is standard. The standard is a yardstick consisting of a specific set of actions relating to a particular job on which the actual results are to be evaluated. Different types of standards are used for measuring the performance of different individuals. Standards may be quantitative standard or qualitative standard. Control standards are derived directly from the objectives, goals, expectations stated in the planning. Standards should be simple and easily understandable. As the standards serve as the basis of control, they should be set very carefully. Standards should be capable of achieving with reasonable effort and time. Standards should be flexible and not rigid. It should be consistent with the overall objectives of the organization. It should be set scientifically with the help of time and motion studies. It should be expressed in quantitative terms. It should be set in consultation with people who are responsible to achieve them. So, the first step in controlling is the process of setting up of the performance standards. Standards are the criteria against which actual performance would be measured. It serves as a benchmark towards which the organization strives to work. It can be set in both quantitative as well as a qualitative. Standards set in terms of cost to be incurred, revenue to be earned, product units to be produced and sold. At the time of setting the standards, a manager should try to set standards in prices, quantitative terms, as these would make the comparison with the actual performance for easier. For instance, reduction of defects from 10 in every 1000 pieces produced to 5 in every 1000 pieces produced by the end of the quarter. However, whenever the qualitative standards are set, an effort must be made to define them in a manner that would make their measurement easier. Again, one more example for improving customer satisfaction in a fast food chain having self service. Standards can be set in terms of time taken by a customer to wait for a table, time taken by him to place the order, and time taken to collect the order. It is important that standards should be flexible enough to be modified whenever required. Due to changes taking place in the internal and external business environment, standards may need some modification to be realistic in the changed business environment. The next controlling process is measurement of actual performance. Once performance standards are set, the next step is measurement of actual performance. Performance should be measured in an objective and reliable manner. There are several techniques for measurement of performance. These include personal observation, sample checking, performance reports, etc. As far as possible, performance should be measured in the same units in which standards are set, as this would be making them comparison easier. In generally, believe that measurement should be done after the task is completed. However, wherever possible, measurement of work should be done during the performance. For example, in case of assembling task, each part produced should be checked before assembling. Similarly, in a manufacturing plant, levels of gas particles in the air could be continuously monitored for safety. Measurement of performance of an employee may require preparation of performance report by his superior. Measurement of company's performance may involve calculation of certain ratios like gross profit ratio, net profit ratio, return on investment, etc. at periodic intervals. So, once the standards for desired performance are fixed, the next step is the measurement of actual performance, accurate and timely measurement of results requirement effective system of reporting. The measurement should be on the future basis so that the deviation can be predicted. It means knowing not only what has happened but also what is likely to happen. Therefore, measurement must be clear, simple, rational, relevant, understandable, self announcing without complication and interpretation. The next step in controlling process is comparison of actual performance with standards. The third step in the control process is the comparison of actual performance with standard performance. It involves two steps. That is, finding out the extent of deviations and identifying the cause of such deviations. Deviations means variations from the standards. So, when standards are developed and actual performance is measured accurately, any variations will be clearly relieved. So, two steps which are involved are finding out the extent of deviations and identifying the cause of such deviations. Management may have information relating to work performance, data, chart, graph, and written reports, besides personal observation, to keep itself informed about the performance in different segments of the organization. Such performance is compared with the standards to find out whether the various segments and individuals of the organization are progressing in the right direction. When the standards are achieved, no further managerial action is necessary and control process is complete. The next controlling process is analyzing the deviations. Deviations means, as I already said, it is a variation from the standards. Deviations or variations may be negative, zero, or positive. If the actual performance is less than the standard, then it leads to negative deviation. If the actual performance is equal to standard performance, it is treated as zero deviation. Finally, if the actual performance is more than the standard performance, it results in positive deviation. Every deviation is analyzed to find out why it has incurred. This will help in finding out who are responsible for deviations. The next one is critical point of control. That means control should be focused on critical points or result areas. That means you are going to take the final step, that is taking the corrective action. So, how we are going to take the corrective action? The final step of control process is it involves taking the corrective action so that the deviations may not occur again and the organizational objectives are achieved. After finding what has gone wrong, where and why, management can initiate remedial action. Corrective in action should be involved review and revision of goals to the subordinates, change in the assignment of tasks, provision for additional resources or new facilities, improvement in the selection and training of workers, or reform in the techniques of direction. Control function may require changes in all other managerial functions. The next one is management by exceptions. Control by exception. There is an important principle of management control. An attempt to control everything results in controlling nothing. Deviations beyond the permissible limit need be brought to the notice of management and controlled. Deviations within permissible limit can be ignored. Deviations means the variations from the standards. The next step in controlling process, that is a step 5, is taking corrective actions, as I already said. The final step in the controlling process. It is a taking corrective action. No corrective action is required when the deviations are within the acceptable limits. When the deviations go beyond the acceptable range, especially in the important areas, it demands immediate managerial attention so that deviations do not occur again and standards are accomplished. Corrective action might involve training of employees if the production target could not be met. Similarly, if an important project is running behind schedule, corrective action might involve assigning of additional workers and equipment to the project and permission for overtime work. In case the deviations cannot be corrected through managerial actions, the standards may have to be revised. So, you have seen the controlling process. The basic control process involves mainly these, that is, the establishment of standards, measurement of performance, complete performance, and at last, the final step is taking the corrective actions. So, let us see the home assignment now. Explain the importance and limitations of controlling. Explain various steps involved in the process of control. Thank you.